What, this?
No, the camera. Turn about 2 degrees the other way. Away from me. There you go. It's all about you.
Kind of a little light. Some more fruitful ones. Hey, we're on. All right, so welcome to the first OLUG meeting of 2016. I don't know whose phone number that is. Someone says, let me know when you're broadcasting. We're broadcasting, so there's one viewer. All right. Okay, so January 2016, that's where we're at. You all know who I am. No. Oh, no, I'm new here. You're new.
For the people on the, for the person on the.
For the person viewing at home as well as yourself, I am John Larson. I'm a systems engineer at AIM. Cool. And this month we're going to talk about VirtualBox really quick, plus a few other administrivia type items. Part of which is news items, such as they actually have a PlayStation 4 that's running Linux. They've got some patches out on GitHub. They modified, I think, around 4,000 lines of code to get it to work. That was not the reason why I ordered a PlayStation 4, but maybe, who knows what I'll do with it. Sadly, Ian Murdoch passed. There's a lot of weird things about it. I don't know if I want to mention them because it's so more like some of the rumors, but his Twitter account has been removed, so you can't see what has been
There's
posted on it.
screenshots off there, but it's
Really?
I don't know. Hopefully somebody hacked it too. He had a really bad break.
Yeah.
He's a very sharp guy. I only talked to him a few times. He's always very humble and stuff like that. And who is Ian Murdoch? What's his importance?
Ian is the Ian in Debbie. So it's been kind of part of that project for quite some time.
And there he's an
Deb was his girlfriend at the time.
More up-to-date library.
Then Deb was his girlfriend, wife, or ex-wife.
Yeah.
I think he leaves a couple of kids behind.
Oh, he's the Ian and Debbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he went off to put out Progeny, which was actually Ubuntu before Ubuntu kind of thing. It was an attempt to make a user version of Linux.
That's right.
And he did that. Then he went off to, they kept going with Progeny for a while. They started creating custom distributions based upon that, which is actually pretty cool stuff. That's how I was dealing with it. Then he went off to some work in the Open Indiana project, which is an attempt to create a very user-friendly version of Solaris, which they had some minor success before it happened. Then they got bought by Oracle, and that pretty much killed that project off. And then he went to work for Docker. That's what he was working at last.
A lot of things got killed off before.
Yeah. Very, very sharp. Very, very sharp.
Wi-Fi Halo was announced on the Wi-Fi Alliance that operates in the 900 megahertz spectrum, which means it's the same spectrum as many cordless phones in your house. Older cordless phones in your house. I don't remember where Z-Wave is. There is announced of mainline support for the Raspberry Pi 2 in the 4.5 kernel, which is kind of cool. I have 2 now. I mentioned last month that I was going to probably start messing with home automation. So I did get a Z-Wave dongle and a Raspberry Pi 2 to work towards that goal. And I have one switch, so I can at least control one light. As soon as I get a chance to dive deep into it. I mean, you can cheat with by getting the smart things, where you can use the Raspberry Pi and really get to understand how it all works. So how many people heard about the Steam security issue on Christmas Day?
I heard about that. It was all over Reddit.
Yeah. Not a fun day for those on Steam. They were caching and there was an investigation going on into that as well. Hey, look what else happened on Christmas. Girl 6. 15 years in the making for that. Yep. It's something else. But it is not backwards compatible with 5. It's not. And for those of you who saw my photography workflow presentation a year or so ago, the Dark Cable 2 has been released. Now uses the GTK3 libraries.
There's Pine 64 Kickstarter still open too, right?
What?
Pine 64.
Pine 64.
Yes. Go to Kickstarter.
Really?
Yeah.
They're trying to port Pine to.
No. It's this is a good Kickstarter. I think there's still a couple days left on it. Okay. And look for Pine 64. It's a 64-bit Raspberry Pi type chip.
Oh, I think it's a Pine.
That's what
Pine. Oh, Pine, sorry. Just Pine 64. Yeah. Yeah. 17 days ago, $15, 64-bit.
Let's see if it can go. Is it? It's not compatible in terms of boxes. So that will box.
It's its own whole thing. It's got this.
There's some expensive stuff right there. How does a plastic figure out? Does it like magic inward? Yeah, that's probably definitely opening up.
Google started out that say 4K video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what percentage it's open though. If that's if there's tried very well, it's probably 4K like you have to.
Hope he gets his goal.
Yeah.
I'd say you got it.
Well, the thing about it is there's a couple different versions. The one for $15 is like 512K RAM. They got a 1 gig one for like $4 more.
About 12 meg.
Yeah.
512K.
I did say 512K. Yes, I did. Oh, screw you both. Yeah.
So it'll be like $30 version.
Scroll down with some of the scores. Then a bit more. They gave away some really cheap ones. Yeah, 15. A little more. Yeah, beginning in March. Sputter 12.
Well,
And you get a gig with the other one, which is kind of cool. Oh, this is gig. Yeah, A64 Plus does gig. Ethernet. Yeah.
Is this like vapor hardware? I mean, it's not built yet.
No, they're gonna build. You always take that risk.
if they say ships, that means they've already got agreements. So,
There's always a possibility. This one actually, it's just taking a cell phone chip again and putting it into a custom board. So I mean, and then their overall stuff doesn't sound too bad.
The ubiquitous Lego case.
IRP package. So you can get the 2 gig later when it gets released.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
2.5
What was the bottom line that'll fly you out somewhere?
How much money is that? Well,
Innovator package. Somebody pledged $5 a piece. Yeah.
there's a deal that Bruce Campbell can get your account for 25K. He's doing his Kickstarter.
Who?
Bruce Campbell, he's doing his Kickstarter for non-TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They go out doing stupid things.
I only had a chance to see the first 4 episodes. Ash versus Evil.
That was just so the first one. But no, that's goes for 17 more days.
Yeah.
Actually, it's exclusive. And there's a whole bunch of cheap chips around the village, chip 9s, shipping out.
So since you're the new individual, sir, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Walt Delvecchio.
Hey, Walt.
I used to work with Unix for about 20 years. Ended up at a Microsoft shop. And just look what I got for Christmas. So I got my Linux box again. I had one years ago. The last version of Ubuntu I had was Jaunty Jackalope. I haven't been on that stuff since then.
Maybe M's now? I can't keep track of all of them. Where do you work?
There was an alpha announced yesterday.
X, W's.
Look at my email. W's are
Close, right? They're gonna go aardvark and they can go play lose. Sure, it's a Z. Just start going double A, PDA.
I think it would be AA. It's always 2 names.
Yeah, but I mean, it'd be aardvark, you get A, something aardvark. I don't know what you do for the other word.
Awesome aardvark.
Awesome.
The cheating aardvark. Apathetic aardvark.
Yeah, but it's got 2 A's, what word would describe?
Oh, okay.
Any questions about the news? Or any general Linux questions? Okay. We need speakers. I'm going to say that I'm going to commit to 3 presentations this year. I'm putting my foot down. I'm doing 3. No more than 3.
But this one doesn't count.
This one counts. The other ones need to be filled.
As always.
All right. So here we go. None have been decided yet. I figured July is a good enough time to
You put all the months I wanted.
You one of those months?
I'll take one.
Chances are that the 4th of July, it'd be rough.
Raspberry Pi. I'll take March.
It'll take March?
Yes.
Okay.
This is planning, this has never happened before.
I think it appears that a
I was
threshold
one of
has
those
been
slackers.
passed, and the topic will be Ansible.
Ansible?
Ansible.
A-N.
A-N-S-I-B-L.
I'll say confirm.
Wow.
Hooray!
So, I could do a follow-on of the fiber talk, bring OTDR to it. Ooh. Make it fun to
Okay. Well,
Let me consider that.
you think about it.
Because I think you're
Wow. So you get
You want access?
sure.
You've done enough of these. You can have access. Let's create another tab and we'll sign them all.
It's not like you couldn't track revisions in Google, unless you know the secrets. Okay, so I'm going to try to write up an email about the list. I'll probably put a viewing version of this in there so people can see it. And hopefully that'll help get things a little bit better scheduled. Honestly, with the holidays, this kind of just sort of popped up on me. My wife asked me Sunday night, so what's going on for OLUG? I'm like, crap! Well, I hardly recommend going to the Alamo draft house. It's very nice.
I'll never go. I'll never be able to go.
I didn't know it was open.
Because my wife can't stop talking in a movie, and I'm not going to be thrown out.
You don't have to get thrown out. She's just got to go.
Yeah, they will.
She's just got to go. You can still watch the movie.
Yeah.
There are voicemails on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I've seen
They're
some of it.
publishing the voicemail.
I've seen some of their commercials using some of their commercial
Very strict.
saying, we're glad you're never coming back to my movie, to your movie. Did you talk too much?
If you do need some people for everyone, I think else.
Now mark it down.
It's a one spreadsheet. That's
Hey, that looks even better. So I chose the dark background, so the camera can see that. So, how many people have used VirtualBox?
you should install it.
So, VirtualBox is a virtualization package for running x86 virtualized hosts. It can run on x86 host operating systems such as Windows, Linux, macOS, and Solaris. Hosts that can be virtualized, aka guests, can be DOS, Windows NT and higher, Linux 2.4 and higher, OS2, Solaris, OpenBSD. There follows somewhat of an open source development model. Their track ticketing system is available for anybody to look at, as well as many patches. It is an alternate to many virtualization packages. I know that Hyper-V is like built into Windows 8 and higher. I'm trying to remember if that's Pro or Home. I think it's just Pro. But one interesting thing about Hyper-V I found in class, when you turn on the functionality, it immediately takes over the network card in the device and assigns it as a virtual switch. So it causes some problems with booting. If you're doing, I think, if I remember correctly, it was PC environments. Right. I wonder if your text.
But you can also use VirtualBox for other things like VOS, like Coup, all those other ones. It's just not as smooth path, right? React OS, stuff like that.
What was the first part?
You can also run other OSs as hosts.
Yes.
But they don't run quite as fast like
Right.
Linux.
It's not like it's
Coup,
native.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. The DOS one is interesting, and we'll get into that in a little bit. I had to do it. So, a long time ago, there was like 2 editions of this. There was the package you would get from Oracle, and then there was the open source edition that was listed in many repos. So some functionality wasn't available in the open source edition. I went looking for that edition today, and I really didn't see it listed as the open source edition. So I'm wondering if there was a licensing change or something like that when 5 came out.
It's still available today.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay.
So pretty much on my Linux box, these are the number of packages that I have to install. Mods is nice. It'll be handy. That's the one thing compared to, say, like the repo from Oracle. It has to go through a kernel module compile every time you do the install. And sometimes that can be a little tricky if you do kernel updates. 24 packages, it really isn't that bad. 65 days. See how fast our internet is. Do this. I'm trying to remember, I've been using this for probably 5 years, since the version 3 days. I don't remember ever using it in version 2. But at that point it was still Sun VirtualBox before Oracle bought Sun. Play for time. I should just download it ahead. You wouldn't have this wonderful installation screen. So, the thing about DOS, right? DOS didn't really know about faster processors, right? So, when you're using it on a VirtualBox, it runs the processor at 100%. Because for DOS, there was no idle. It was always running. So one of the problems of running it in the VirtualBox is that it would spike one of your cores. But there is a driver. Remember, I think it's easy to fix this, that detects idle and drops the percentage down. It was an add-on that I found in a forum post. We'll take a look at it because I still have it installed on here. I had to do an install of an old point of sale system and support it. It was DOS. Not only that, I had to get to print receipts. And I pretty much had it working. And then there was a fire at this business, and they decided to upgrade to Windows-based point of sale system from the same individual. So luckily, they were able to move all the data. So probably we're going to have this problem. We'll not be able to start the problem. Oh, right. There's the first part of our problem. We have a kernel module available and running. So let's close this. So much for that, right? Yeah, you know, that's how demo fails work.
Break context update DB unit is located. That's
Yes. Shouldn't take too long, it's an SSD.
sweet. So do you need anything special to process or anything like that? Like the extensions for the virtualizations, the VTX, all that stuff doesn't take advantage of those?
It does take advantage of the VT extensions for processors. So it would be good to have that kind of a processor in your system. Although it's not needed, it would certainly be very helpful for it.
So John, I'm old school. I'd run the find command. Who's located there? Runs in the background or something?
Yeah, what it does is it creates an index of all the files in the system. So you have a database that it just hits. So like, so it knows where the stuff is, so it's hitting the file rather than going through the file system. So you have less cost. And you run it once a day in the system.
And it searches all the file systems as well, so you're not trapped with going out and finding things. I can't remember if it was
And locator has the paper package.
Okay, so which package did you install to get,
It's an locator package. What I think user share was. Oh, we should have tested this.
what version of Fedora are you running right now?
23.
Wow. What is that making today? That's great.
Remove the box user.
Try to run VirtualBox, can't see what they do with the error those commands.
I'll leave that later.
Yeah.
So, since you're running this as a user, you probably need to be in the VBox users group. I'm doing this the old-fashioned way with Vim. You could use user mod and add an individual to a group. I prefer the hands-on of editing my group files, which could be dangerous.
Yes, it can be dangerous. You can break your packages list that way.
Well, not the packages list. You can break being able to log in.
When I run a group, they run a group check and comes up and says,
I always run a command that says, save this as something else before I write it out.
So there's user mod, -G, supplementary groups, with the username. So. You can also hit activate accounts. It's not something you usually see that often. Tell you what, I'm going to pop out and reboot real quick. Happy New Year.
So if that doesn't work right, it doesn't count as a clock. Because you won't.
Yeah.
Too soon? So do you have the whole build package stuff? You need to build package on people. You have to think for a.
Yeah, it's installed as part of that. It's got the RPM filters, wheels, and the valves.
I'll just have to wait over there.
Look over Etsy system. Look at that. Etsy system today. Models. No, LS mod. That's the models. Done.
Module source. Oh, what?
Did install it.
Hey, Sean.
How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Do you mind use the trash can in that back room? I need to walk through here to get to it.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm impressed. Fish take DNF not to me yet. I still do it. To this day.
So,
You named that.
The kernel's too new. They don't have the version available.
Do you have the older kernels? You haven't solved ones that way. Of course, what are you going to do if you don't have? Oh, you can always just get it during the boot order, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
Do they want
3.
Storage 3.
install the old kernel?
So imagine if you will.
Can you boot it into Windows?
Why would you want to do something like that? Hang on a second. Ew, Windows.
Start X.
Sure, right there. All right. Virtualbox.org. Download.
Or 22.
Door 22.
The 64-bit version.
Display is still going a little off. You gotta be kidding. 30 minutes. Or
Start dancing. A while ago, why don't you host the RPM move? The version. Debug the develop kernel. Yeah.
well, see, the thing is that the AK Hotch built the module for us.
Yeah.
So
Why don't you go ahead and install it again? So we'll just keep an eye on the. Maybe there's an error message we're paying we didn't see. No need.
All right, let me swear. There's swear.
You already have it downloaded, right? So it should be still here. Oh. Yeah, now. Well, I mean, you might be better off. I don't know.
Better already.
Well, the thing
This
is,
is the whole process.
yeah, you're gonna need this part anyway. You're gonna need VCC anyway for it.
AK mods should have taken care of building the package with the system. And that's the actual source. So doing, or, oh, I need, I don't know. That seems to me that there's something wrong with this.
Yeah, the dependencies
Not a
are out.
dependency.
Yeah. A little bit. They don't call it.
Well,
They don't call it RP hell for nothing.
I was worried about filling for time. Everybody's gonna go to sleep.
Actually, when you have a computer here, you know, you can search for things. I was looking up DNF, because I'm not familiar with Fedora.
It replaces Yamaka version 22.
Yes. So
We learned
they
something
continue reusing acronyms that usually mean bad things. So DNF, do not finish.
Those are the only thing of F.
What was the other one?
So the question is, if you want to, I think, so you have to get the kernel development stuff in here and can read.
Dandified, yeah, whatever that means.
What's that?
It says dandified,
The individual who was behind the Young effort sadly got hit by a car while riding his bike. So a lot of the major push behind him kind of went by the wayside.
What was yellow?
Yellow Dog Updater Modified. So the Yellow Dog Linux, it replaced, that's what they use for their installs. And everybody liked it, so it just sort of got pulled in.
You should have said some people like it, not everything.
Some
Okay, some people who don't use that.
yes.
Another thing you
Just
stole
say.
from Debbie.
Was there an update to, I saw there was an update to KDE recently. People were pretty happy. At least the one person I saw.
I'm in a hardware desert right now with video and so forth, and about ready to get. Hopefully this spring they will get that taken care of. But right now I have like Fedora 21. The last KDE was high before that.
Yes. It only works when I'm at home. Because it goes across the network. I wish it would do presence detection. So every time I plug in a flash drive, it starts the backup process again.
Sweet.
It's duplicity.
Duplicity is a good reason.
It is pretty neat.
What does it say? Oops.
It's when all the Turkey Linux guys use for their stuff.
Start job is ready to build and install new K module. Woo! For a K mod package. There you go.
Upgrading from Fedora to That's what they want.
What's that?
No, the next time you upgrade from Fedora 24. Does anybody still run Rawhide anymore? It's still around.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm not that, I don't want to go through that much pain running rawhide.
This is how people set their passwords.
It's all stars.
No, I usually it's time.
I like really sensitive projections. And, well, let's see what.
Well, let's see if our package exists now. Let's see if that is that. This is Despin or PC Toxic System.
All right, 1%.
Rock.
I'm gonna fire I gave an error message. Maybe some people call it. Huh? It's mine. Or out the road. Mode.
I take the okay.
Let's make it a it's Omaha.
What? That's not like.
Let's say that the bird off our virtual box and see what the error message is. Yeah, it's a little bit slow. Details. Yeah, install KMod virtual box. Yeah, I'm installing KMod. You've already done that. System controllers. Ah, yes. I want to talk like you.
I don't talk like that. Like big version.
Yeah, it's special.
One of our VPs is from Russia. It's one of our challenges is to, whenever he visits here, is to try to get him to say squirrel or moose.
I was wondering if the system control took care of this. Oh. Close, reopen. I'm feeling optimistic about this.
Yes. And.
That's good.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it needs network.
there's no network rating.
It's gonna be one
It's
of
DOS. I don't care. It's fine. All right, so we have a boot failure. Not surprising.
What's it say when you check the media for it? No, the VirtualBox manager is that setting too. It comes up that bad disk or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, can't find
So can't. Oh, it's looking for the output disk.
Yeah. Awesome.
Some of this goes back quite a ways. PC DOS 2000. There's the PC DOS.
How do you allocate disk for virtual boxes?
Well, what normally happens, we can pull the presentation back up. Oh, I know why this is weird. All right, there's a program that you can buy or download, and what it does is it darkens your screen at night.
Oh,
So it removes the blue. That's why it looks red.
Okay. I have it installed on my system so that I try to get a better path to going to sleep.
Yeah, they have that in the new Kindle solution.
Yeah. So. Okay, so we've got a command line client and the GUI. GUI allows for creating, actually both of them allow for creating, changing, starting, stopping, and pausing. I routinely use the GUI, but often use the command line when starting the guest remotely. So essentially, when you're creating stuff, go back into here. I'll say new. Call this test. It's not a Windows box. Let's include a Linux box.
What were the other options again? Under the title?
Oh, sure. So OS2. I have my OS2 warp still at home. Now, I have not tried Mac OS under Linux. It does work.
It's a direct
I thought I
connection
had-
license.
Yes.
It is, but I thought that it's okay if you run it on a Mac. It's still Mac hardware. It probably would.
Containers?
Yeah.
What if you're running Linux on your Mac?
Woo!
That's still be okay?
That should be fun.
Oh,
So luckily, they have all these Linux distributions that are mostly, they have the icons or the colors for that.
You want that to be in that version? Look at the winners in here. Mandriva,
Oh, here's,
Turbo Linux, Xandros.
oh, there's some other winners right there.
Yeah. Oracle's still selling quite a bit of it.
So here's our memory size that we can allocate to that machine.
Do your DOS machining.
We got ourselves a gig. Now, there's a couple options. Do not add, create, or use an existing one. So like, I could use that DOS file. That would probably be bad. So you could actually mess with, like if you're doing an upgrade of an existing virtual machine, you could mount the drive, or trying to rescue data off of it if something happened, you can just boot from an ISO and get into it. But we're just going to create. Now there are several different types. The VDI is the VirtualBox disk image. The VHD is Microsoft's. I think the VMDK is the older one that VirtualBox uses. There's Parallels, QEMU, and then the QCOW. Okay, so when we allocate the disk, we have dynamic allocation and fixed size. If I choose fixed size, it's going to make an 8 gig file right away. Dynamic allocated, it's only going to increase the size as it needs it to the maximum it needs.
It doesn't increments.
Yeah, I think it's like 512
Yeah.
per meg. That's incrementals. So here's my file name and size of the disk. You can go up to 2 terabytes, or there's a little small meg. Let's choose 8. Oh, actually no. Let's choose 4. Just because I can. And now I have a powered off machine. If I boot this, nothing's going to happen. Then once the startup disk,
Oh, there's a this right there for it.
yeah, we could do PC DOS. There's the LTI toolbox. All right. Hey, mouse will not work. If you click in here, the mouse is now captured. So in the lower right-hand corner, it says right control. That releases the mouse again. Okay. So that's something important to keep in mind, because if you're like, I can't do crap, there's your right control.
I wonder if that works on other bits of software.
And this is configurable. Some of them have methods very similar to that. But I can still use the keyboard
I'm just going to use basic graphics mode to start this.
But you can also make other changes. You can say like the number of virtual CPUs it sees, all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. In fact,
Because right now it's just running as one virtual one CPU.
mm-hmm.
At one point when I played with virtual machines, I had 4 Windows XP virtual machines all running at the same time. Because I needed to monitor 8 TV networks all at the same time. It got confusing with the sound a little bit, but it worked.
I would imagine so. So here's our actual setup. Now, if I wanted to install it on the hard drive, I could actually go through and do it. There we go. Tell you what, I'm going to exit out here real quick. Then look at some options.
Can't you just, well, you can save the state though. You can just do that. I think I go close. Just go to close. Under file. Don't go under file. Close. You just save the state. So you can save in the middle of the boot or wherever you want to. So that's a nice one.
So we're talking about settings, right? So you can modify each one of these items, and we'll kind of go through them in the interface. So under general, here's our name. Now we can't make changes because the system is, not everything is changeable, right? There's execution cap you can change, but you can't change the cores. If the system is powered off, you can't.
Oh.
Right? So that's actually it's nice, isn't it? That is nice. It's almost nice if that's my machine at work. I mean, since it's pretty fast anyway.
They're talking about implementing like CPU and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do with it now that it's.
Okay, so here's an item right here called shared clipboard. And it can copy between the host and the guest, which is, I think, very important. I normally set that to bidirectional. I've never really messed with drag and drop yet. That's sort of, I think that's a version 5 thing. I've never really seen that before. There is encryption. I haven't messed with that either. I don't know if you have, Aaron. No. I don't need a floppy drive, so we can turn that off. There is some actual chips that you can actually change it to ICH9 if you want. So let's change that, just for the heck of it. Processor. 1 CPU. Execution cap. PAEs for memory for 32-bit systems, higher up. Here's where it's enabling the BT or AMD extensions, so it will take advantage of any hardware virtualization you have. Here's something that's been new that I noticed. So you can choose KVM as your hardware virtualization interface on the system. So like offload some of that stuff to KVM. So I think that might help with certain situations.
It's working on KVM, so.
Yeah. So 12 meg is nice, but you know, if you want a certain amount of color, you should probably have at least 32. This is newer. Newer versions, there's actual monitor counts. You can actually say 2 monitors. So emulate a dual display. I have not messed with 3D acceleration, although I've done 2D acceleration on the video card. Now, you can actually enable RDP server functionality. So you can reuse the Microsoft Terminal server connectivity connected into it.
Or you could do full video capture of your session. So if you're like, if you want to record a video of how to do stuff, you can do it right in virtual. And so this is set at about 18 meg per 5-minute video. Storage, so you can see our ISO is loaded up. There's our disk. You can actually add additional disks onto there. If you want, you can actually change the controller type. I think you can emulate SCSI, so like storage attachment, storage controller. So you can emulate a USB, you can emulate SAS, SCSI, SATA. Although it's all virtual, I'm not. It might be because if you're doing physical to virtual migrations, to keep the controllers very similar for driver purposes. You can enable an audio, so I've got Pulse Audio on my host system. You can have it emulate a Sound Blaster 16, so if you are running DOS. Right? Network is normally NATed on the system. You can actually switch this over to bridged. I do that at my desktop at work for my workstation. I have to at least have one Windows box every so often. And if I want to get at it remotely, I run in bridge mode, so it actually takes an IP out of our general setup.
What's your advanced option here?
Advanced is like a MAC address, adapter types, whether the cable is connected or not.
Can you go back to the attached tab again real quick? One of the options there is host-only adapter. That means you can't get outside this machine. If you look at like Unix, a couple of the security distributions that use that for security purposes, it makes it much harder for it to break out of your machine into your local network and stuff like that. So it's only to talk to the other virtual boxes.
It knows there's a network presence, so you can,
Yeah.
but not.
You can talk to the other machines, the other virtual boxes as you go up and running.
Okay. They haven't gotten to the point where you can classify as separate virtual networks, though. It's something I've seen.
Not for, I mean, you could.
That's the more expensive.
Yeah, like you start doing that with tables.
Avoid 0 ports.
And the Achilles heels of virtual box. USB is.
Yes, it is. You notice it lists all 3 of these controllers. From what I remember, you'd only get 2 or 3 if you put in the extensions. Same with the remote video as well. So we'll just leave that at 1.1. Shared folders is rather interesting. Say if you're using Windows box or Linux box, you can share a folder on your host to the guest. So what I normally do is I'll say read only. I'm going to say download. That way, if I'm in my virtual machine, I've downloaded on my host, I can still install drivers and such like that if it doesn't have the right. And user interface is just changing some of the way. Let's go to the network for this one. Let's turn our network off. What does it say? Remote display.
Oh.
But it tells you.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Maybe that's why we had an
Yeah.
Can you do the unplugged cable while it's live?
Yes. Down here at the bottom, you can right click on this, and you can check.
I don't want to yank the adapter, I want to simulate a cable being pulled on an application.
That's what that does. So that's now
it'll still have the network adapter, but it'll say like no cable. It's the same with USB. You can actually do a pass-through to any existing USB devices. So if I was to choose the camera, it would actually use the camera on my laptop.
Do the pass-through, you make that.
No. There is a cost.
At one point, I was wanting to use VirtualBox or virtualization to read a dongle so I could hook into a scanner, and at that point in time, it wouldn't let me. It looks like the newer versions might allow that with the user.
A cable disconnected.
Yes.
It's the same as this one. So it should be smart enough to detect change. There it goes. Okay. Now you'll notice I'm using the mouse back and forth on this screen. So I can go over here, I can go over here, and it's still interacting. The guest OS is aware to an extent that the mouse can move between the windows. Not all operating systems are like that.
Well, 7 doesn't yet.
Right. So you still have to remember that right control down here. Like if the mouse is captured and you can't move out of it, then you have to release it to get back to your host. So let's move this guy over here. See if this guy moves out here.
It's just like those. Actually, a really nice feature to run inside VirtualBox is Linux Mint because it has the virtual guest extension already included with it. So you don't have to install anything, compile it, it just automatically resizes everything correctly. So it's very nice.
For DOS, it makes a 500 meg drive. Oh, I tell you, I had it running. It was great.
Sure you did.
Ah, but wait, there's more. Let's do this. Bridge. Oh, it's running. Let's use a use case scenario. I'm trying to recover my virtual machine from another virtual machine. You know, that's okay. Let's go back to this guy. Storage. Primary. Slave. That's the problem. I was drive B wasn't being detected. Here's that power manager stuff. 32-bit mode, 16-bit MS-DOS interface. DOS idle was the name of that program. Right? So, oh, the good old days, right? Yeah.
How would you do this instead of DOS box? I mean, if you're looking at games and stuff.
Controlling the redirection of that. I was doing it to recover data. So, for instance, this wasn't. There was an image of. I don't know if I have it on here. Well, you get the idea. I mean, it was fun to play with.
Does it take you back?
I'm surprised I'm remembering all this stuff in my hands. You know? Type instead of cat. What do they call that?
I still
BMS thing.
played the old, kind of too long ago.
Yeah, but
Kind of a back command, isn't it?
Well, they got it from, okay. They stole it from CPM, who's got the stuff from.
so obviously this is not the standard DOS program directory. Some of these are old programs that I used to use.
Let's mutate.
What's the format? Oh, you really
Modifying contents of files.
Yeah.
We used it a lot to convert text entries in files coming in from customers.
Wow. License fee of $15.
Must be paid.
I like the quick files. There's my favorite editor, Sled.
Oh, God.
I have a lot of muscle on there. Switch between files all at the same time. If I can remember how to exit it.
Without writing those buttons.
Now you got
And muscle memory.
Yes, failed again.
Yeah, well, you know.
And the machine never booted again. But now,
So,
Oh, I see. The dreaded debugging code.
there's Pico.
oh, that does bring back memories.
Alright, so you saw in the interface you can make a change to all these items. Hardware virtualization, audio. You can actually turn the audio off so you're not doing any audio from something that you can't see, which is kind of handy. The extras themselves, the add-on extension adds support for USB 2 and 3 devices as well as RGB and PXE for Intel cards. The guest editions adds display drivers and mouse drivers, so if your underlying guest does not support where the mouse is fluid between the windows, those drivers would allow it to move back and forth and give you that.
By the way, the Dixie boot stuff is
Yeah.
kind of handy. Trying to work out Dixie boots machines. It's very fast.
Mm.
Good virtual ones.
PHP VirtualBox. you can actually throw it on the same machine as your VirtualBox and manage them through a web interface. We did a project at AIM where we were remotely controlling virtual boxes on several host machines. We were setting up a prototype for a student information and learning system. So they'd sign in and fire up a machine and let them log into it using RDP. It was quite handy. But, you know, I think it works pretty good. The thing about DOS is you just, power up. Nothing the same. It's quite a wide range of stuff. It's really pretty nice to have. So somebody asked this morning, so you guys use Parallels on your Mac? No, we use VirtualBox. Why? Well, number one, it's free. Two, it does everything we need it to do. But Parallels has that integration piece, I think.
Is Parallel still around? I thought they were.
Yeah, they're still.
I thought they were bought.
Still, they did, but they're still releasing material. But
What's the other one for Mac?
what's that? VMware Workstation?
Yeah, big
Fusion.
for Mac.
One thing I should mention. There is options to import and export your appliance. So if we export this DOS test, or DOS, Open Virtualization Format 1.0, that's the format that they're choosing. Now there is a 2.0, but most of the virtualization vendors support this format. You can do some extra stuff, but you can then give somebody this file, and they can re-import that machine and run it on their own system. We've done development that way, where we've had a system image of a development environment. We'll give it to a developer, and they run it on their desktop rather than creating a whole development tree of servers.
So using the import, you can import from other virtualization formats like VMware and stuff like that.
Yeah, as long as it's OTF, it will import it. So at one point, we did do an import of a machine.
So
We initialize all Mac addresses on network
are
hardware.
there any kind of P2V utilities?
I'm sure that there are some, and I think it's more of a, you might do a disk image and then mount the disk, or boot up a Linux box and rsync it all over and then boot it up. Similar to what Ken, HP, when they did that big move for that mining company, they were doing it all live with rsync.
There's some utilities too.
Yeah.
There's scripts utilities out there,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure it's still up. But I mean, it goes back to the question: VirtualBox using that in production versus VMware and stuff like that. Because I mean, here you have the whole OS, and you have this running on top of VMware. It's cut down quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you're still going to have some amount of overhead, but if you're just doing it for hobby work or for me on my desk, where I just need a Windows desktop, maybe only twice a week, it's unbeatable. It's great.
Paving people this way.
Well, have you ever tried to nest them?
No, I haven't.
I always wanted to do that.
You can run Docker inside of it, you should not run adapters inside of it.
But you can't run virtual box.
No, you can run Box inside of it, which works, so it doesn't do the same level stuff. But you can go multiple levels, you can go multiple layers.
I did see this. I haven't looked at it yet. Remote box.
Yeah, that's,
That's probably just a key.
I think it's supposed to be kind of a replacement for PHP virtual box.
Oh, okay.
Replacement for what? PHP virtual box.
Oh,
Supposed to be more
and
open to it.
there is a driver for link vert, so you can use Vert Manager to manage virtual box systems too. Don't like Vert Manager?
No.
But, thank you for sitting through the tribulations. Here's the guest editions. You can install them and they'll be available. When you're having the machine up and running, you can say mount guest editions in the menu and it mounts up as a CD drive.
What are the snapshots do?
Snapshots allow you to actually make a snapshot of a running system. You can go back into
Go
it.
back to it.
Yeah.
Does it do shared memory or just the drive?
Right.
You can do linked copies when you make copies.
Oh, this is the drive.
It's just a drive. Yeah. Is that-
No, I don't mean it's not cloning.
But it's not-
Make a link copy.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Crash. All right, crazy, just do it with LVM.
What? You're bleeding edge today.
Yeah. So like here we are again with our virtual media manager. That was the problem with we got those messages earlier where we couldn't find the disks. You can add and remove these items whenever. So I can't remember what floppy images those are. No. It's pretty handy. You can actually release a drive without deleting the drive. That way it's not connected to anything. Yes, immutable. Which means cannot be changed.
I was
There you go.
said not you.
Multi-attach.
Can't shut it off.
Here's living on the edge.
Oh, come on.
Especially for DOS.
That's never gonna happen.
What you need to do is install.
So those buttons were mutually exclusive, you could only choose one of them.
The disks.
And the options with the radio dial buttons that you just had.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can only choose one.
For that one piece of medium, DOS test media, you can have different ones
Yeah.
at different settings.
The funny thing is, you can make it immutable for the team. So it's not really.
What easy way to update your access.
Now I can see where DOS would work with that. Where you can still boot to it and not write.
Yeah.
Linux would probably have a terrible fit.
Well,
Because they wouldn't be able to do certain 10 things.
There's a version of Linux you don't have to hard drive.
Most of
Yeah.
that being memory though.
So if it's temp-fs, then it's throw it right up.
That can be a fun way to screw. Whew, here's an image. Have fun. Just do it.
There's the clone.
Yeah, actually, Clone's got some cool options. Next, is you can do the link clone, which is nice. It only keeps track of differences.
You start creating the original virtual machine as part of the clone.
It's much
If
faster.
anything happens to the original.
That's interesting. Cool. So it says link base right up here.
Well, if you change something in the original, it'll change. It won't be. It'll change it in the copy so it has the original value. I think it's a link clone, but either one can modify that. That won't change it.
And interesting for doing testing.
Right, just if it's corrupt.
Oh, yeah.
Are you using?
Yeah, you're gonna pass them.
So everything is safe.
No, Linux Mint runs remarkably well under VirtualBox. Because it has the installation, all the guest box steps, all stuff in it. It's a nice box. So, well, a lot of new crap. Cyber Trinky Linux is where it has to place to get images for this to play around with stuff.
So that's cool. That's pretty much it. All right, great. You know where to download it. You know what pitfalls you can have.
I know how to install it.
Yeah. You can troubleshoot it and everything. I love the glow of green.
Yes, it's
Very spectrum and green. Or at home, at work, I use amber.
Well, have you seen RetroTurn?
Mm-mm.
The package is trying to bring back the old style.
Yeah.
Some of those like tall characters that
Just they've got a
just have like
bunch of funky
dash
ones there.
lines.
The O's you can't tell between that and the zeros, that kind of stuff. You know, all the pain.
I get a lot of crap. Because that's my terminal at work. Nobody likes it.
Nobody likes green.
Guys I work with.
So why would you do that?
Because I had old eyes.
But you get it to be fuzzy cordials or stuff.
No, so you can emulate.
Yeah, you can emulate
Improperly focused.
Yeah, images there. You
Oh,
know.
awesome.
It's all
Cool retro.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I want that?
Not in a lot of districts yet. But you go into the images real quick.
Although what you just found looked pretty cool. Sci-fi deathmatch. All that.
Hey,
Oh, look at that! Yeah, it's got the glow
And the big border, so you can only get like full characters.
Why do you turn it like that?
I had an ARM 3A. I've lost some wrong with this stuff.
Even better if it would like offset it so you can't get all the text on the screen.
It's got the curve.
If it flickers, it's even better. Well, sure, there's that option for it. Well, I didn't get it since.
I'm relatively certain I didn't put it together. There was a period in the 80s that I had
Imperfections is part, so
I'm
that
relatively
Yeah.
certain there's a direct correlation.
it's pretty good.
Well, they were doing that with Stella too, the 2600 emulator. They were modifying it so because it's playing on the LCDs, it's too perfect, so they're making it a little more like stick.
That's pretty good having that glow.
Probably showing in your life just.
Oh, they should have little mock reflections. So it looks like there's a reflections in the room. That's pretty good.
They should have a burn-in.
Yeah.
It's coming towards project.
Maybe that's under the effects. You can choose your burn-in.
Burn in.
Or it's burned in from previous screens that you've been using. That'd be great. Well, for those at home, I'm sure you can't see that blown out on the screen, but thanks for joining, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah, have a nice burn.